going on, guys? My name is Jonathan McFadden, and I'm back again with Simple Sports, doing my first official video. I was actually supposed to do one yesterday, but I had some personal stuff come up and just ran out of time, and I didn't want to rush anything, so I figured I'd wait till today. But with that, I'm going to sort of skip what my initial plan was and just jump right into this thing as if I've been doing it for a long time. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about Warriors-Cavs Game 2 and looking ahead to Game 3. A little bit of recap of Game 1 and just my overall feeling on, the flow of the series and Kevin Durant and LeBron and the rest of the crew. So with that, let's get right into it. My initial reaction is Golden State is a lot better than I thought they were. And at the same time, they aren't. Like, they're sort of right. Let me put it this way. What I expected to happen in terms of wins and losses has happened. It's just the way that it's happened that I did not see coming at all. And what I mean by that is, if you look at just the end score of the game, right? And I don't know off the top of my head. I have the box score of Game 2 right in front of me here. But Game 1, I believe the score was like 91 to like 113, something like that. And obviously Game 2 was 113 to 132, both for Golden State. But what's interesting about that and the overall game itself is the Cavs played. First of all, let me put it this way. Just watching the game and looking at the box score and following the stats throughout the game, neither team played well, right? Like, they both played fine, they both played great, but compared to what they normally do and what they're doing in the finals, it's not like either team blew everyone away in terms of stats and numbers. Neither team was really, it wasn't that great. I mean, the Warriors shot 51% from the field and the Cavs shot 45%. The Warriors actually took less shots altogether, minus the threes, just regular 2-point field goals. So they took about 11 shots left in the Cavs, less than the Cavs. Neither team shot a fantastic percentage. Curry didn't play that well. If you look at his box score, you would think he did, but he got 14 of his 32 points, so almost half of his points from the free throw line. And I think he was 10 of 10 or 11 of 11 in like the first quarter. So it's a little inflated if you just look at the box score, which is why stats to me are sort of, they're not overrated, but they're used incorrectly. A lot of people will throw that out there and say he was 32 points, 7 to 17 from the field, 4-11 from 3. He had a triple-double. And you look at the end result and it's like, oh, he had a great game. Well, he really didn't. He had 14 points from the free throw line. He had a couple of terrible turnovers. I think he had 6 or 7 turnovers for the game. So, the stat line, you can't read too much into it. But just looking at that, that's what I concluded from the game. And the biggest thing was, although Cleveland and Golden State didn't necessarily play fantastic, they both played better than Game 1. And it's like, as the Cavs got better, the Warriors got equally as better. And it's almost remarkable. And it's probably all just, well, it is all just by chance. But if you look at it, the Cavs actually got almost exactly 20 points better from Game 1. They scored 91 in Game 1, 113 in Game 2. But so did the Warriors. The Warriors only scored 113 in Game 1 and scored 132 in Game 2. So almost 20 points better from both sides. And they still won by 20 points, obviously, because they each got roughly 20 points better. And it's like, a lot of people said, a lot of the discussion anyway is this Warrior team the greatest ever? And is that why the Cavs are struggling? Is that why LeBron is struggling? They're 0-2. And going back to Cleveland, potentially could get swept, maybe 5 games, most 6. What I took away from it was, it wasn't like, because at halftime I think the Warriors are only up by 5. I didn't take from it that Cleveland is almost there. They just need to figure some things out. I took from it Cleveland is barely, like, they're fighting for dear life right now. And yes, it was a close game at halftime, but they don't have enough gas to go up and down the court like that. Like, they really need to slow the game down. But like I said, my biggest takeaway, especially at halftime, was it wasn't that it was a close game. It was that it was close, yes, but it was, for me, more that Cleveland was scratching and fighting for everything. And it was almost rough to watch because it's like no matter what they do, every time they went on a run, they had a big defensive stop or a steal or they hit a three or got a nice dunk, you know, whatever, got a stop on defense. Cleveland or Golden State answered back, and by halftime, again, they're only up by 3 or 5 points. But if you didn't know the score, you would think they were already winning by 10 or 15 or 20 points because Cleveland was fighting. And it's weird to see. It's almost like I look at LeBron and it's almost like he knows that they can't beat this team. I don't think they can beat this team. I don't think it's going to be close. I picked originally for this to go 5 games, the Warriors winning 5. I think it's going to be a clean sweep. Now, I do think Game 3 is the game that they can win. After seeing them in Game 2, Game 1 was a little bit, I think, of an outlier. Both teams were a little rusty. Things were just kind of all over the place. A lot of turnovers by Cleveland, et cetera, et cetera. I never really judged it off of Game 1, but Game 2, I was expecting a closer game. And like I said, even by halftime, although the score was close, it did not feel like a close game at all. So that was my overall takeaway from the game. I don't know what, and this is going to be a fairly short video from what I'm going to do in the future, but I really don't know what the Cavs can do other than just really slow the game down. But I really don't know. Like, there's no answer for anyone. You know, KD had 33 points. Steph, although a little inflated, had 32, and then Klay Thompson got going, which is something that they really needed, and that's something that is not good news for the Cavs. For him to be playing as great a defense as he is, to then also give you 22 points, even if he doesn't give you 22, let's say he gives you 14 or 15 points a night and plays defense the way he did. Kyrie Irving, I think, was 8 for 25, 8 for 23 last night, or in Game 2 with 19 points. And, you know, LeBron played okay. He played very well in the first half. He ended the first half, I think, with 18 points or 20 points and then finished the game with 29. I don't know what happened in the second half. I think he ran out of gas and just started shooting jump shots. And LeBron's not a great shooter. He's a streaky shooter. But he's not a great shooter, and that's not his strength. And so in the third quarter, about halfway through the third quarter, he just started throwing them up, and they just were not falling. No one else was making shots. Kevin Love was the only other person that gave them a good game. Tristan Thompson did, for the most part, what he's supposed to do, except for rebound the basketball. He's not... And you would think, like, that would be the one thing he should be dominating against this team. But then you look at, if you think about it, really, they have KD who's 7 feet. And although he's not a body like Tristan Thompson, that height helps, regardless. And then, obviously, Zaza, the rim protector and rebounder. And don't forget Draymond. Draymond's still, 6'8", 6'9". And, you know, that's a lot to deal with down there, even for LeBron and Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love. I mean, that's a lot to deal with. And not only that, but 2 of those guys can take the ball on the fast break and lead the break. So it's a lot to deal with. I don't really know what answers the Cavs could have for this. I just think there's just way too much firepower. And I'm going to have another video. I'm going to talk about potentially if the Cavs lose Game 3. I have another discussion that I want to talk about, but I'm saving it for whether or not they lose. That'll sort of determine whether or not it's something I want to really look into. But I will hold on to that for now. So a little tease for you. But yeah, I really don't have much to say about Game 2. What do you do? You know, I don't know what you do with that. I mean, at a certain point, teams are just better than you are. And at this point, the Golden State Warriors are just simply a better team than the Cavaliers. They play like all around team basketball. It's completely unselfish, a little flashy at times, and I don't know if that's going to cost them. I think they need to be, they get a little loose and careless with the ball at times, and I just hope that doesn't come to bite them. I think them winning the championship, I think whichever team were to win this, I think is going to generate a lot of great conversation. But regardless, I think to dethrone LeBron from being like the focal point of the league, even if it's only, say, for the summer and leading into next season, because we all know LeBron's still going to be the talk of the town, regardless of what a lot of people think. But at least it'll subside for a while, and I think that's kind of good for the league because I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get a little LeBron fatigue. It's like everything that happens in basketball, and I get it, don't get me wrong. He's obviously an all-time great. So obviously, he's going to be talked about, but as a consumer of that, it does get a little annoying at times to just hear that over and over and over again. So I think we are getting a little LeBron fatigue, and I think this is good to sort of disrupt that without making it negative. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the end of like Kobe's career, yes, Kobe wasn't winning championships. He won his last championship in 2010. So 2015, 5 years later, it's not that big of a run. But those last couple years, it was like, okay, he got hurt, which started to lead to deterioration, and that's fine. But there were a lot of Kobe fans who wouldn't let go of the old Kobe and just realize, look, at this point in his career, he's just not the same guy. And that's fine. You can let it go. And so I think LeBron taking over, because I really think after MJ, there was Shaq. And after Shaq left LA and won the championship in Miami, from that point up until about 2010, so about a 5-year, I think it was, what year did they win the championship? Was it 06? No, I don't remember what year they won the championship in Miami, but for that about 5-year stretch, Kobe was the talk of the league, and it was like, is he going to pass MJ? Will he get the 6th ring, or will he get 2 6? At that point, he hadn't won 4th or 5th yet, and then he won the 4th or 5th, and he was still the talk of the league leading into next year, along with the Miami Heat. And things just fell apart. Dwight Howard and the Chris Paul thing, and a lot of things went wrong for the Lakers. And so people, I as a Kobe fan, like, he's my favorite player, but even I got sick of it at a certain point. It's like, okay, like I appreciate greatness, and he's my favorite player, but I'm also objective, and I want to move on to the next thing. And LeBron, since about 2010, when he left and went to Miami, has been the talk. I mean, he's been the talk of the league since he's been in the league. So don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying, as far as like, is he the greatest? Is he the next greatest thing? Like, that has sort of subsided, especially after 2011 when they lost to the Mavericks. So from that point till now, he's been the talking point of the league, and it's just a little tiring is all I'm saying. So now we have something else to discuss. We have the Warriors as a franchise. How great can they be? How do you combat them next year? Because I think this series is over regardless. So it's like, now it's, how great are the Warriors? How do you combat the Warriors? How do you beat the Warriors? What team can make moves next year to beat the Warriors? That's going to be another topic of discussion. And then also, does LeBron stay in Cleveland? Is Cleveland the answer? KD versus LeBron and that whole dynamic, and does Durant take the torch from LeBron as the best player in the league? For the record, I've always thought he was the best player offensively in basketball, because although LeBron is sort of the freight train, there's nothing that Kevin Durant can do, and I think his career on the back end will give him, because he's such a great shooter, will give him another 3 or 4 years that I don't think realistically LeBron will have. I think, in all honesty, LeBron has maybe 2 years left in his, like, that in that 12-0 run we saw in the playoffs. I think he has about 2 more years of that, right? And then I think he has after that about another 3 years to sort of be a really productive player. I think after that he starts to drop off. So you got to remember, yes, in age he's not old. Even for basketball, he's only 32. So even 5 years from now, he'll be 37, and like that's that's a really high age to be playing basketball, and that's a lot of minutes on his body. And he's not a great shooter, so his career I think is going to shorten a little because he's already losing a step. Once he loses a couple more and he can't blow by people or run people over, he's going to have to rely on his jump shot. And he's not a great jump shooter. Like, he shot very well this year from the three. I need to see another year of that sustained for me to believe that he's become the shooter, because he can't hit free throws either. So I don't know. But I do want to talk about Kevin Durant just for a second. KD, as I said a few minutes ago, I think has been the best offensive player in the league for a long, like since, for his first or second year in the league. Like, the guy's 7 feet tall and can hit from anywhere on the court. He can post up a little. He's not the big body, so he can't like muscle people over, but he can get in the post and utilize it because he's 7 feet tall. And most guys guarding him aren't 7 feet tall. He's quick enough to cross you up and get to the rack. And like I said, he can shoot the mid-range shot. He can shoot a three. And he shoots it effectively. And he's efficient. He's taking less shots than he did in OKC. And he's getting the same amount of points and shooting a better percentage. Like, it's crazy. And a lot of that has to do with the team. I get it. But just looking at him, by himself, like that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. So I'm fascinated by the whole thing. And not only that, but he played outstanding defense in Game 2, which was wild to see, because I don't necessarily – I know he can defend, but I don't think of him as a defender. And he had – what did he have, 6 blocks? He had 5 blocks, 3 steals. So that's – and he's giving you 33 points a game. Like, that's significant. That's huge. So, yeah, looking forward to Game 3 in Cleveland. I think this is the one game that they can win. I don't see them going down 3-0, losing that first game at home. And it's like, okay, because right now there's a lot of, they can live off of they were down 2-0 last year and they were down 3-1 last year. That's fine. But this is a different team. This is a different Cavs team, and this is a different Warriors team. And if they go down 3-0 to this Warriors team, you can forget about it. That's going to be so demoralizing, because I know they're projecting, fans and maybe Cleveland and the media is projecting, they were down 2-0 last year. They were down 3-1 last year, and look what happened. But I think in the back of Cleveland's heads, they are saying, if we don't win this game, we're done for. I think they're already done for. I think LeBron knows that they can't beat this team. I don't even think, and I got to be honest here, I think even if LeBron were to come out next game, Game 3, and give them, a Detroit Pistons or Boston Celtics type of game where he just goes mental, I still don't think it's enough. I really don't. Like, even if he gets 45 points, 15 rebounds and 12 assists, shoots 60% from the field, I just don't. I don't think they have enough firepower across the board to beat this team. I really don't. Their lowest quarter last game was 27 points. That's pretty decent for any team. For any quarter. They put up 40, 27, 35, and 30. Like, that's incredible. And I never would have guessed that a team that scores this well and shoots this well from 3 and puts up this many points per game would be so good defensively. Like, it blows my mind. It's really mind-boggling. So, Game 3, I honestly, the only thing I can hope for is that it's a good game, because Game 1 and Game 2, Game 1 obviously was a blowout. Game 2, while at halftime was close, didn't feel like it was close, and then obviously they lost by 20. I do hope that it's a good game. 5 or 6 points, come down to the last minute or two, and then we'll see what happens from there. But at the end of the day, I just don't. Even if the Cavs win Game 3, I don't think they have enough to beat the Warriors 3 more times after that. Especially with the Warriors already being up 2. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be around on Twitter pretty much all day tomorrow. Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff will be in the description. I'm working on sort of rebranding everything. Like I said in my intro video, I just kind of threw this together last minute and I didn't really want to. But I'm working on making, I made a new logo today. I'm working on making some banners. I'm working on the website. Working on a lot of things at once. Hopefully it all comes together and this thing takes off, because what I'm doing right now, which is talking about sports, honestly, if the camera wasn't here and the microphone wasn't here, like if there was another person here, I would be doing the same thing. That's what I do. I watch sports videos all the time on YouTube and watch games and watch old games. Like I just watched the 2003 Ravens-Titans matchup, which is a phenomenal football game for people that haven't ever seen it or don't remember it. It's one of the best, most physical games I've ever seen. So, like, that's what I do. And doing what I'm doing right now, which is talking about sports, I love it. So, I hope you guys share and like this stuff. Share it with everyone. Like the video. Subscribe. Do all that good stuff. I'm not going to sit here and beg you for it, but obviously that's the whole point of me doing this. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. I will probably not do a video again until Thursday, because the game is, what is it, tomorrow? Yeah, game's tomorrow. So I'll probably do a reaction video and a recap on Thursday. Take a lot of notes and all that good stuff. But I will be live tweeting the game tomorrow, so tune in for that. Share it with everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.